Time's up. Let's do this. Hey guys, what's up? Zuda here, and I apologize for missing the Lucas versus Django Unchained map. I woke up. I was here on time, and I felt like absolute death. I felt horrible, and so I messaged some people, told them that I wasn't going to be available to cast, and I went back to bed. Woke up an hour and a half later. Feel better. And hopefully that will lead to my voice holding out for the duration of this series and a couple more after that. Just going to do a quick lag test here just for some transparency. I decided to flip on the screen. This one doesn't matter. We're just doing a quick lag test to make sure that everything is good on that front. I suspect it should be okay. And then once both players have confirmed the lag is okay, we will step on out and head back to the next game. So I am feeling better. I'm hopeful that I'll make it through the duration of this series and the next one as well. And we'll see how my voice ends up holding out. I'm pretty sure they're not playing, right? Like, I just want to make sure, because like Prince has just abandoned his villagers here. But I do believe that Lucas and Django already played. Lucas, for those of you who don't want to hear spoilers, cover your ears, pause the stream right now. Lucas won 3-0, and I just ended up watching. Watched the end of Yumu casting Lord Raphael versus El Pistolero, and I believe that Lord Raphael won that 3-0 as well. Just caught the end of that series, so yeah. But looks like the lag is okay. Okay, let's do it. Alright. Alright, so lag looks good. And, oh, look it. Maybe Michael. Maybe Mito wants to cast. Well, we've just done a lag test without him, so we'll, I'll just solo cast. Alright, so let's take a look at the map. First of all, Arizona is going to be the map here for map number 1. I have the map pool here somewhere. Let me find the map pool. Map pool today is Arizona, Hudson Bay, Pampas Sierras, Baja California, and Manchuria. Are going to be the 5 maps that we're going to roll through. So we're going to start on Arizona. Oh, there, Ryan, it looks like pasted them in the chat as well. Ryan currently clicked in with the British civilization on Arizona. Arizona is kind of a painted desert clone, remember, and perhaps going to be looking for that mirror everywhere he goes. Looks like he's going to opt into the Aztec mirror here for game number 1. PrinceofKabul has clicked in, is ready and willing to have that Aztec mirror. I'm ready and willing to have an Aztec mirror. Let's see whether or not H2O truly decides that he wants to play that Aztec mirror. And of course, for those of you who have watched H2O play other tournaments, he is the king of mirrors. He will almost certainly chase you around and try and get you into a mirror situation whenever he possibly can. The one surprising thing is that Aztec is not a civ that I really connect with H2O's name. It's certainly civs like French, British, Germans, Dutch, Japan, India, all civs that I think H2O is perfectly fine with. However, Aztec is not one that immediately I string together with H2O's name, so we'll see whether or not he's actually going to be playing the Aztec civilization. It looks like he's taking a long, hard think about it. Oh, Lucas lost. I'm just seeing in chat. Django won 3-0. Okay. All right, here we go. Game number 1, Aztec Mirror between H2O and Prince of Kabul. Map, as I mentioned, is Painted Desert. And here we go. Spawning in the north side of the map, playing the Aztec civilization. In the color red is Prince of Kabul. And in the south side of the map, in the color blue, playing also the Aztec civilization, is H2O. H2O, of course, for those of you who don't know who he is, one of the more better-known players in the Age of Empires 3 history. Has won WCG in the year 2008, quite some time ago now, but has always been one of the premier players of the game. So if you're just happen across Twitch and you see a lot of people hyping up this matchup, a lot of people excited to see these two players play. Certainly two very strong players, and we'll see how it ends up playing out. Worth noting that it was a 300 wood start, and so if players do want to get that kind of trifecta of buildings down, the market, the fire pit, and the house, certainly a map that they are available to do so. H2O picking up a nice little wood treasure there, definitely going to help him ease the burden of that gathering in the early game that he would need to get that market and the market upgrade. Going to have his market already up, and once he has that 50 coin, which he very shortly will have, we can see hunting dogs on the way presently, which is a really nice little economic bonus for him early in the game. Switching over here to Prince's side of that, we can see no market going down for him, electing just to collect that extra 100 wood, and has not dropped down any sort of extra building with that just yet. So nice little advantage for H2O early in the game, economically speaking, but we'll see whether or not that ends up actually making any difference. For the time being, both players just scouting around. H2O picking up, is that its second wood treasure? That is a second wood treasure, another 50 wood treasure. Well, it looks like Prince of Kabul converting that outlaw pistolero and picking up a native scout for himself for the time being. Both players, of course, do build the war pit. Fire pit, and both players do have their warrior priest presently dancing on it. Three villagers coming out for H2O is the first card. Similarly, we're going to see 3 villagers coming from Prince Kabul. There is really no shenanigans that can be sent here with the first card with Aztecs, and well, between two players of this caliber, I would not expect any shenanigans to happen anyways. I think for the most part, in the start of this game, both players are going to be playing pretty conservatively, going to be just kind of feeling out their opponent, making sure that they don't get tilted or off to a rough start, and as a result, I think we'll just see standard play. Looks like a little bit of contention over this this little bit of a treasure. See if H2O does end up dropping it. Nope, looks like he's going to end up picking it up. But his Explorer is pretty low after all of this. Going to be taking a lot of damage from this pistolero, from this native scout. Fortunately for him, is going to end up dropping down fairly near his town center, and as a result, going to be able to get that back up. But it is worth noting, because that Explorer did go down to the fire from the outlaw pistolero, 200 XP, which is in itself essentially just a treasure, going over to Prince of Kabul. So a nice little pickup there for him, and making use of the Aztec War Chief bonus to the best of his ability. H2O looks like on his way up. Both players on their way up with the messenger, going to be aging up very, very quickly. And we'll have to see what ends up happening as a result of that. We can see 2 villagers sneaking forward here for Prince of Kabul. No villagers looking like going forward just yet for H2O, so probably going to be playing it pretty conservatively. Perhaps, well, it looks like maybe we'll have a little bit of contention over here, because it looks like there are villagers posturing for position on this hunt for both sides. H2O keen to get that hunt under his control, and looks like also keen to block that war hut, which he does ever so smartly get blocked, and that's going to be really nice for him. Does not look like he's going to be able to drop any sort of villagers or anything in position to be able to block the second attempt, but does block the first villagers from getting down the war hut, and does save himself a little bit of time as a result of that as well. So gets this hunt back in his control, and is going to be able to fairly easily get this war hut up in time to defend against any sort of pressure that Prince of Kabul would be able to put on. It is worth noting, however, that because these war huts are so close, there's going to be a lot of tension here in this mid-central portion of the map, which could end up resulting in a very explosive game. We can see just how close these two buildings are, and as a result, maybe some siege potential coming out for a shipment for either player right away could prompt a response. And indeed, 6 Puma going to be the next card for Prince of Kabul, and immediately just going to be starting to siege that war hut. We'll see whether or not the Jag Big Buttons do come as well. That could certainly be pretty telling of a very aggressive play. It looks like, nope, just Coyote's going to be popping out, but unfortunately Coyotes are not really the best unit to be able to deal with this, and H2O might just end up losing this war hut. In fact, he is just going to end up straight up losing this war hut. 10 mace do pop out just in the nick of time to be able to help salvage this fight, but unfortunately not in time to be able to defend the war hut, and as a result going to end up losing that, going to end up having to rebuild that, and that's going to cost him some unit production time as well. The Coyotes for Prince of Kabul getting up right in the face of H2O, doing a pretty good job of cutting those down in their place, but at the same time no units are being produced from him right now just because the war hut has been dropped down, and as a result is having to rebuild that. The fortunate thing for H2O behind all of this was he was not super dependent on the livelihood. His livelihood did not depend on him securing this hunt. Has plenty of hunt in the backside of his base, and as a result, looks like he should be okay for the time being, having this war hut rebuilt over here. Also going to be able to help secure this hunt that's back on this side of the map, and helps protect this coin mine as well. So realistically, not the end of the world, just losing a little bit more map control there, plus the 250 wood that he did lose in the siege down there, but truthfully not that big of a deal. 9 Mace Holton coming out from H2O, and 10 Mace Holton coming out for Prince of Kabul as their next cards. And as a result of that, the army's size is starting to grow a little bit more here once again. Of course, it is worth mentioning that H2O still does have a 6 Puma shipment available to him to help combat these Coyote numbers that are going to be rising, whereas the other side of that is not going to be true. Prince of Kabul has already exhausted his 6 Puma shipment. Will have his 9 Mace Holton shipment available, but not sure if that's something he's going to do. Kind of a cute little move here by H2O, going to be able to swing over, pick up both of those villagers, and scoot on out. What a cheeky little play there. Unfortunately, he may be caught out here by the Coyote numbers, but if he's able to get away with that, that is just an absolute nice pickup for him. Coyote's trying to engage here. Mace Holton trying to engage as well. Looks like they're going to be caught out a little bit, hung out to dry. H2O just going to try and pick up as many unit kills with those as he can and retreat his way on back with his Coyotes. Does get out. You do have to wonder whether or not it was worthwhile for that play. If you take a look at the army populations as a result of that play, 31 villagers to 8 villagers, or 31 military unit population to 8 military unit population. But it did swing the economic unit population 2 more in his favor, plus that 5 villager shipment means he's up almost 10 villagers at this point. Certainly if H2O can stabilize behind this, he's going to be in a very solid position. However, we do have to remember Prince of Kabul has an ever-growing military size, and perhaps we'll see another military shipment and then just a push in from him, maybe something like 5 Coyote runners, and then a push. And if that were to happen, I don't know that necessarily if H2O would be able to hold that kind of pressure. Certainly, it could be difficult, and as a result, could end up being in kind of an awkward position when this military does decide to push in. Fortunately for him, at the current time, he does have the Coyote Runner Knight, or the Coyote runner count rather, in his favor. But looks like Jag, big button going to be popped, and here comes big bad PrinceofKabul. He's going to be pushing his way on in, and this is going to be a tricky hold for H2O. He does have 5 more Coyotes popping out, but unfortunately those 3 Jaguar Polar Knights are still alive and well in there, and there's nothing really to explicitly deal with them. We can see a couple of villagers here in the fray as well. Likely the Warhawk Fire trying to focus down the ranged units the best that they can, but these Jags, it looks like, have been dealt with. It looks like everything has been cleaned up here quite nicely by H2O. A little bit of villager fighting ending up going quite nicely in his favor, and now he has most of his Coyotes still left alive here, and is going to be able to chase down some of the Mace Holden. Doesn't want to overcommit too much, but at the end of the day, H2O finds himself in a fine position now. 12 military pop to 19 military pop. Certainly in an okay spot. And behind this, we do have to remember that 5 villager shipment plus those 2 villager kills has resulted in a fairly large disparity in terms of economic unit population at this current time. The one last thing PrinceofKabul really has going for himself at this point in the game is the fact that hunt-wise, he has slightly more map control with the position of his war hunt here out in the middle of the map, but I don't know that that's explicitly going to matter, just due to the fact that there's still plenty of hunts back here in H2O's base. If you take a look, still this nice little herd of pronghorn over here, and some decent hunts over here as well. So probably enough hunt that it doesn't matter. And now H2O, I think you might just be waiting for that 6 Puma Spearman shipment maybe coming up next. We can see he sent Coyote Combat, has a fair number of Coyotes here, out 16 of them, and I'm not quite sure what he's waiting for before he pushes in. I think he has to feel quite pleased with how that last fight went, and and perhaps wants to break this contain before it becomes too problematic. But at the same time, like we mentioned, maybe he just doesn't feel the pressure just yet, just because he does have a decent number of hunts still available. Not going to be six Puma Spearmen, instead going to be 3 Warrior Priests, and it looks like he's just going to continue with this style here, sitting in his base, feeling like he's ahead. Probably knows at this point that economically speaking, he's been ahead for the majority of this game, just due to the fact that he knows that his opponent shipped more military units earlier than he did, and as a result can probably find some solace in the fact that he's probably ahead in terms of economy and maybe doesn't need to worry about it so much. Perhaps just wants to get his warrior priest count up to 10 as quickly as possible, and then fight one big fight with the buffed up coyotes from the warrior priest and the coyote combat. Prince, on the other hand, starting to diversify his unit composition here slightly. We can see does have 12 Puma Spearmen in this mix, which I think is going to be quite nice for him. H2O going to take a peek in here, perhaps see those Pumas and back on out as a result of it. You can also see that Prince is throwing up a war hut here on the right hand side of the map, going to try and continue to keep up this kind of contain here on H2O, securing as much of the hunt as possible. And H2O still does not have any ranged units available, has only coyotes. Going to be charging forward here. 3 Jag, big button popping out, going to certainly help against these Pumas, but the Puma Spearmen in a very good position. War Dance going down for H2O almost certainly. And it looks like both sides going to be engaging here in this fight. It looks like H2O just going to be cutting right through this fight. No problems. And as a result of that, now I expect to see this kind of swing into a pretty big snowball for the blue Aztec player at this point. Take a look at the military unit population following this fight. It's going to be very one-sided, and now we can see H2O in a commanding lead, has that 6 Puma Spearman shipment going to be available to him, is going to be able to siege down this war hut almost immediately. A couple Puma are popping out for Prince. Do take a couple jabs at the Coyote runners, but realistically not too much threat there. And it looks like this big fight in the central portion of the map going to swing back over to H2O. PrinceofKabul, of course, does still have this one war hut over here on the right side, but maybe more importantly, all of a sudden, he finds himself with 0 military unit population. His war priest count remains at 1, where H2O's is currently up to 4, and he's losing map control like crazy. Just with this number of coyotes out roaming around the map, H2O can almost certainly assume that his opponent is off hunts somewhere here in the middle of the map. And I think he's going to see these pumas coming from this side, and he's going to suspect a location to search for. A bunch of villagers going to get penned up in this war hut, and unfortunately for Prince, there's really nothing around at this point that's truthfully going to help him. War hut's going to drop very, very quickly. A couple more units going to bleed out, going to be immediately picked up by the coyotes. And once this war hut goes down in full, I think we'll see a resign here from Prince. Yeah, there goes the war hut, and there goes the resign. GG called. Game number 1 going to H2O in this best of 5 series. Kind of a risky play there by H2O going for those villagers. But if we take a look at the economic units following that, pretty big discrepancy. Shipping 5 villagers and killing 2 ended up with him having this nice little bonus for about 2.5, 3 minutes, and was able to replace his units despite the fact that he was behind that shipment for shipping 5 villagers slightly, and maintained that advantage throughout. Also did a pretty good job of fighting at his base, despite the fact that he was in a pretty severe deficit here for most of this fight. Actually ended up doing okay here. So a couple 1 fights on lower populations, good positioning of his units, ended up with a pretty good advantage for H2O. Takes game number 1, and we'll see what game number 2 has in store for us. Perhaps we'll see another mirror. Of course, Prince does get to choose second here in this particular matchup. So, should he choose to do a non-mirror matchup, he certainly can force that, and we'll see what H2O has in store for us in game number 2. While I wait for the players to host up, I'm going to get some more water, try and keep myself as hydrated as possible during this to prolong the duration of how long I'm able to keep my voice. I'll be right back. All right, Hudson Bay is the next map in the map rotation, and H2O does have to pick first. We'll see if he opts for something like French here, something that's just very, very safe, well-rounded, and perhaps equipped to deal with anything that Prince could potentially throw at him. I suspect we'll see H2O pick French here. Still deep in thought as I spill water all down the front of my shirt. Because apparently I thought there was less water in this cup than there actually was. Let's do a quick poke and prod. Sniffing a line in the bathroom real quick. Need that little morning pick-me-up. Well, I don't know what's going on. These guys don't want to pick the sieve, or I was in here with Team Prince for a moment just before this. Got some interesting game names here. We got one about Mankle Sucks, one cheering Team Prince on. Ramex looks like he's just hosting his game. Alright, there's German's going to be the choice for H2O, it looks like. Not sure yet, he says. Well, he has swapped on over to Germany. I still suspect he'll take French. That could be untrue as well. Let's look at the next maps as well, because that could be important as well. So we have Hudson Bay, and then we have Pampas Sierras, Baja California, and Manchuria. Worth noting, Pampas Sierras is a non-TP map, and perhaps H2O wants to play Germany's on a TP map before that occurrence happens. H2O has confirmed he is going to play the German civilization on Hudson Bay. Ball is now in PrinceofKabul's court to choose which civilization he wants to pick to either counter that or pick the civ that he thinks is going to give him the best chance to win. Perhaps he'll do a German mirror. Could perhaps see a situation where he picks something like... Oh, what else could he pick? I don't know. I guess he could play French. I was going to say French or Otto or something like that. And it looks like it is going to be Ottoman. So it looks like the matchup's going to be Otto versus German on Hudson Bay. That could be kind of a fun one. We haven't seen a lot of Ottoman in general recently. At least not in tournament games that I've cast, not in SmackDown or anything like that. So Otto going to be the choice for PrinceofKabul H2O. Anyone who knows Ryan well knows that he hates playing against Jan Rushes. He has said it himself many times before. He thinks his Achilles heel is the Otto dual racks Jan Rush. He swears even if you're PR10 and you dual racks Jan Rush him, he'll find a way to lose to it. So we'll see whether or not PrinceofKabul has any Janissary shenanigans up, maybe Jan Avis, or something maybe a little bit more FF related. Here we go, game number 2 between H2O and PrinceofKabul. Best of 5 on Hudson Bay, map number 2 between these two players. H2O currently leading 1-0. PrinceofKabul taking the kind of interesting choice of an Ottoman approach, a Turkish approach to this matchup. And we can see him spawning over here in the right side of the map in the color red, playing the Ottoman civilization. PrinceofKabul and his opponent spawning in the left side of the map, playing the German civilization in the color blue, H20. I love when people put H20, H20 in the chat, because you can very clearly tell the difference between the number 0 and the letter O. And it always makes me chuckle when people put H20 in the chat. So H20 is spawning over here on the left side of the map in the color blue. Both players immediately sprinting towards the middle of the map, looking for that TP. Looks like PrinceofKabul going to find it in the middle of the map immediately and going to drop that down. H12 searching. It looks like he's pulled off of gathering wood. Perhaps is he not going to put down a trading post? No, it looks like he is. Just shuffled around his villagers there slightly. Looks like he's going to put down that trading post on the south side of the map. PrinceofKabul does get down his trading post here nice and early, and is going to begin working on this 60 wood treasure. H2O in the vicinity, unfortunately for him, does have to continue to work on that trading post down to the south side there. We'll see whether or not that gets done in time. It looks like the answer is going to be no to contest this treasure over here, unfortunately for him. But 60 wood treasure going. Oh, that I bet that's what H2O was considering. And we saw him pull off of the wood there ever so slightly. And I suspect that he saw that treasure and then saw PrinceofKabul in the neighborhood and decided that he wasn't going to take the risk of trying to take it from under Kabul's nose, and just opted to collect the wood with his villagers instead. Perhaps the more greedy approach would have been to not had to collect some additional wood and just instead collected that treasure. But had you lost, it would have lost quite a bit of time, and as a result, perhaps maybe could have missed a passive XP or two as well. So taking the safe approach and opting instead to not get the treasure, just taking the TP and gathering the wood. PrinceofKabul already up, going to be aging with Quartermaster, the 400 wood politician, and as a result, we'll see what kind of shenanigans he does off of that. I suspect we'll see some sort of Jan Abus out of PrinceofKabul. And the real question to me is whether or not he wants the second trading post. And just looking at his villagers chopping a little bit of wood, his scout currently in the area, I'm going to say that the answer is going to be yes. Almost definitely he wants that second trading post. And we'll very soon have the 200 wood required to drop down that extra trading post. And we'll see what comes out of that as a result. A Nootka Club, and kind of nice little pickup here for H2O. Could start to apply a little bit of pressure to the south trading post, or maybe perhaps harass any sort of forward base that may get built. And we can see these villagers for PrinceofKabul are working their way forward across the central portion of the map, essentially confirming our speculation that PrinceofKabul is going to be doing some sort of Jan Abus shenanigans. You almost certainly would not send these villagers forward should you just be doing a normal FF. And I think it's fairly safe to assume at this point that there is going to be some sort of pressure coming on. Now, like we mentioned, though, this Nootka, the Nootka, I think he just missed the villagers, and I think PrinceofKabul knows that, knows that he just missed the villagers and brought them back as a result of that. Some tricky little mind games going on there, though. Certainly PrinceofKabul not wanting to risk dropping down a barracks in this forward location if the Nootka is just going to immediately lay waste to it. But it looks like it was just out of vision. And well, now the scout going to see these villagers. Where'd that Nootka end up at? There he is. He's chasing the explorer around. H2O doing a pretty good job of blocking the barracks once again. And well, the barracks is going to be forced to go down here a little bit more of a defensive position. Fortunately for PrinceofKabul, well, kind of a catch-22 situation. He is going to lose his explorer, but fortunately for him, not going to have that Nootka right up in his face, sieging down his forward base as well. So a lot of pressure coming out here. 3 Hussar shipmen coming out immediately here for PrinceofKabul. The barracks is now complete, and if we take a look at military units, these 3 Hussar going to be looking to do quite a bit of disruption here. H2O is certainly going to have to drop down the barracks, not going to be able to immediately age up as a result of this. He's going to have to play some defensive, going to have to play pretty defensively here early in the game. Gets that house down in a pretty good position, helping seal off this top side of his base. Going to perhaps lose a little bit of damage here. on some of his settler wagons. Going to keep most of them alive. The 3 Hussar going to build up many of the villagers, but not actually do any lasting economic damage. But we do see Janissaries coming in here now, and as a result of that, lots of pressure coming up. 2 Hussar are here trying to, or 2 Uhlans rather, trying to run a little bit of interference. One of these Hussars is pretty low, going to get picked off by the town center. But now Janissaries are here, alive and ready to apply some pressure. It looks like Prince of Kabul is just, he knows the counter to H2O is just a simple Jan rush, and it looks like that's what he's going to be doing. Crossbowmen out, trying to deal with these 3 Hussar. Looks like they have been dealt with adequately. And H2O going to be forced to continue to garrison quite a few villagers as a result of these Janissaries. Taking a little bit of damage. 5 Janissary shipmen coming out here. 5 crossbows still here to hold it off. And I think H2O has to be very careful here. If he gets a little bit too greedy and sends something like 3 settler wagon as his next card, he could find himself in a position where this Janissary shipment does a lot of damage. Almost certainly going to need a crossbow shipment to be able to deal with this. And any subsequent follow-up that Prince of Kabul does have in mind. More Janissaries continuing just to step their way forward. H2O still doesn't have that 3rd shipment on the floor. We'll see. It should be here fairly soon. And then we'll see whether or not it's the 8 crossbow and whether or not he can get out of his base. The one thing that he can take away from this early fight is the fact that 3 Hussar has already been sent. And because there was such an early 3 Hussar shipment, it's fairly unlikely that Prince of Kabul is going to have any sort of Hussar mass behind this, just due to the fact that the economy is going to be pretty weak, and there's going to be no 3 Hussar shipment to bolster this. Behind it, we can see that there has been a stable build. If we take a look at units in queue, we do see that 2 Hussar are in queue now, which is going to be kind of a dangerous proposition here. But fortunately for H2O, going to scout the stable with the 2 Uhlans, and that's going to make him be very aware of the fact that that he needs to continue to be very careful, and it's going to provide him the opportunity to know 2 things. One, he's going to know that he's going to have to begin training pikes to deal with those Hussar, and 2, he's going to know that realistically he doesn't have to worry about Abus coming out anytime soon, because if we consider the start that Prince of Kabul did, it's fairly safe to assume that his economy is pretty poor, and as a result he's not going to be able to certainly support all 3 military unit types at this point in the game. Settler wagon taking a little bit of damage. 4 Hussar shipment coming in, and this is going to be the big, probably deciding fight at this point. Minutemen being called was just enough coin for that. Looks like the Hussar are going to be pushed back with relative ease due to the good building placement and the Minutemen called. And once again, H2O getting out of this fight with relatively little damage taken. And behind all this, continuing to build his economic unit population lead up to 30 to 18 at this point. And now this is the point where Prince Kabul has to be very careful. Should he lose this army that he currently has, I think he's well aware of the fact that his economy is not in any position realistically to try and reinforce that army very well. And as a result, should he lose that army, I'm going to find it very difficult moving forward here. Losing one of the Janissaries, causing a little bit of mining time to be lost there for H2O. 3 Doppelsonders, or looks like, oh, in fact, just a couple Doppelsonders have just been trained here from H2O. Hussar trying to work their way in to be able to get in a good position, but H2O doing a good job. Look at his building placement here, really quite good for him to be able to just restrict the flow, and continuing just to restrict the flow more with those settler wagons, doing a very, very good job of killing those Hussars while taking minimal damages to his ranged units. Super good control there out of H2O. 700 coin coming as his next card. And it looks like he's going to be able to beat back this pressure with no issues whatsoever. Has a couple Doppelsonders still available to him. Has that 700 coin shipment. And now we can see all villagers going on over to these hunts, perhaps trying to get aged up. Does have to be very careful, though. Still some more Hussar coming in here for Prince of Kabul. Going to be trying to force the issue. Settler wagons getting in front, really nice position, just holding in front of the Janissaries, blocking as much as possible, causing as much of a distraction as they can. But Prince of Kabul has found some fairly exposed villagers over here, which is going to result in H2O having to pull these villagers back a little bit. Did pick up a couple military kills there, as well as a couple economic unit kills as well. And with this big reinforcing batch of Hussar coming in here, all of a sudden H2O looking like he might be spread a little bit thin. Villagers going to be forced to come in, 5 Doppelsanders coming out, and this is going to be certainly the big deciding fight. Dops up in the front here, trying to soak as much damage as possible, ward off these cavalry units. The villagers, the crossbow, the remaining Minutemen stepping their way forward, trying to shoot back the Janissaries, keep them at bay. And if we take a look at H2O's resources, doesn't have a ton of resources available in his base. Does have this hunt up here, which is scouted, but doesn't have a ton of military units. And in fact, forced to ship 700 food at this point is H2O, just due to the nature of this game, due to the fact that he doesn't have a ton. Doesn't have a ton of hunts available to him over here. Just feeling a little bit of pressure to get that food out, and it looks like he is going to gather that on up now with that settler wagon. But just, man, look at the number of Hussar coming out here for Prince of Kabul. Economically, of course, H2O is still ahead, but military-wise, still a very, very thin gap. Both sides having to be very, very careful, and H2O especially riding a very dangerous composition with these Dops and crossbows out of just this single barracks. Does still have military unit shipments available to him in his deck. Should have 3 Doppelsander available, 5 Ulan available to help bolster this slightly. Feeling pretty confident, though, it looks like, with his military composition, stepping out slightly. Here it looks like we're going to see another big fight stepping forward. The Dops kind of caught out in the backside position here. Remember, no Minutemen available for him here at this point in the game, so he does have to be very careful with how he deals with this pressure. The Hussar count continuing to grow here, and well, it looks like he's looking for a little bit of a raid back here. Unfortunately for him, most of the villagers caught out here a little bit too far, and not going to be able to get any sort of successful play there. But is getting some scouting information, knows that his opponent is back here, and if nothing else, forcing back a couple of Hussar as well, so can take some knowledge gained there that his opponent is at least dedicating some resources to stopping this raid a little bit. It looks like Prince of Kabul is going to be working his way in, and oh, that's not good, is it? Big volleys from the Doppelsanders. Looks like the Dops are just going to ram their way on up, and bit unfortunate there. 3 Doppelsander shipment coming for H2O as well, and it looks like this is going to be his go time. He just wants to push out here and try and do as much damage as possible. He's got these Janissaries kind of caught out a little bit, and it looks like he's going to be able to deal with this pretty well. A lot of his Dops are dropping down to the Janissary fire, but he does, as we've mentioned, have that reinforcing 3 coming behind this. And if he can kill the army, realistically, he knows his economy is better behind this 36 to 25 in terms of villager populations. Another 4 Doppelsanders coming in. The Cav finally trying to get into a position where they can deal with these crossbows, but there's just going to be too many Dops. And with those big sweeps from the Dops, looks like he's just going to be able to successfully knock down this army from Prince of Kabul. And now all of a sudden, Prince of Kabul's forward base is very exposed. The cavalry are very exposed, and Prince of Kabul, as a result, has resigned. Calls GG in game number 2, going to H2O as well. And a very exciting back and forth Otto versus German game here on Hudson Bay. See what game number 3 has in store. Do remember, game number 3 is on Pampas Sierras, which is a non-trading post map. And H2O has the option of picking second in this particular situation. Prince of Kabul will have to pick his civilization first. All right, game number 3. It's somewhat interesting to watch the chat in retrospect, watch the end of the game play out and see how the chat responds to it with this 2-minute delay. Prince, as well as I watch your reactions to the last fight there in chat. Prince mentioning as well too many misclicks with the Jans, perhaps costing him the game, and as a result, a chance to tie up the series 1 game apiece. Game number 3, though, is going to be Pampas Sierras for the map. And we'll see what game number 3 has. Perhaps my selection here would be India, I think. And I think Prince of Kabul will feel similarly as he does. And I think H2O is going to be happy to mirror India on Pampas Sierras. I think we're going to see an Indian mirror here for game number 3. That would be my suspicion. The other civilization that I could see it having an outside chance for perhaps selection from H2O is India, or Brit, but I'm almost certain that we'll see an India mirror here. I'm like 95% certain. Just waiting for that confirmation. Of course, H2O can't play Germany, nor do I think would he really want to play Germany on Pampas Sierras without a trading post available to him. Just do it already. Pick India. We know you're going to do it. All right, I think everyone knows it. About what? A little bit of friendly banter going on in chat. H2O mentioning that maybe a 3-1 would be nice, or Prince of Kabul mentioning a 3-1 would be nice, so you can ruin the bets for the H2O fans out there. Oh, look at that! H2O picking French. Uh-oh. Look out. India and Mir not going to be the civilization of choice, nor is it going to be the civilization that I thought would be selection number 2 for H2O, which would potentially be the the Brit versus India matchup. Instead, going to be India versus French on Pompasieres. No trading post map. We're going to see good old-fashioned Samwise 12 French. No TP French here on Pompasieres. And we'll see how that ends up shaking out against PrinceofKabul's Indian selection. Turn on some camera doodads. And spawning here on the south side of the map, playing the French civilization, to the surprise of many, myself included, is H2O. And his opponent, playing the Indian civilization, I think to really no one's surprise, India coming out here, PrinceofKabul. Currently H2O is up 2-0 against PrinceofKabul. And, well, no villagers chopping wood just yet for Prince, and is that going to mean we're going to see a 10-10? Nope, it is not. Had me momentarily excited, but looks like those villagers are going to be tasked to wood after all, and going to begin picking up the required wood to build that house and continue to train villagers. H2O running the left side of this map with his native scout, and with his explorer as well, trying to pick up a good portion of those llamas. If we take a look at the llama count, currently H2O has 4 to PrinceofKabul's 0. PrinceofKabul perhaps forgetting that there are llamas on this map, maybe not coming prepared, running one of his scouts over here to the right side of the map, and the other one pausing, I think, briefly here to pick up a treasure. Yeah, that 90 food treasure. Perhaps a slight misstep there, because it looks like H2O has secured almost all of the llamas, 6 llamas presently. And certainly for an Indian player who is not going to ever have the opportunity to have a trading post, that would be a really nice little bonus to have, some of those extra llamas. H2O looks like the scout has been put on llama duty. Let's follow him in his journey here to collect every llama on the map. He's got this little llama train working its way back to his base. Going to swing down here to the south. Yeah, I'm going to find another one. It is worth noting PrinceofKabul is working on a CDB treasure over here with both of his scouts. So it looks like he's going to pick up uncontested at this point. But the llama train has completed, is going to work its way all the way back to the home of H2O. He's going to be very pleased, I think, with those 8 llamas. Is that all 8 llamas flashed off the fog of war, just to ensure that all of the llamas on the left side of the map have been picked up? And all 8 of them do belong to H2O. And I am curious to see as to whether or not he will pen this, because H2O's magic number, for those of you who have heard the wise Mankler speak, the magic number for do you pen it or do you not is 8. And, well, due to the fact that this map only has 8 total, you would think, well, realistically, he'll probably never pen that, right? Because the odds of him getting all 8 of them are pretty low. Not the case. Got all 8 of them here, and we'll see if the mighty Mankler sticks to his words, whether or not he pens that 8. I suspect he will. I suspect he will pen that 8 llamas, and use that as his nice little bonus in the mid-game to spike his economy. CDB treasure that was picked up for Prince is going to be putting down that aggro fort. That looks kind of goofy, doesn't it? Having a CDB pounding up an aggro fort. That's something you almost never see, but, well, it's going to be the case here. Aggro fort going up for PrinceofKabul here in the middle portion of the map. And it is worth noting that in kind of a choky little map here, just little paths here, crossings, to be able to get onto either side of the map. There's some cliffs and rough terrain over here kind of blocking the left-hand side. So despite the fact that it feels, looks kind of open, it feels very narrow while playing it. So this aggro fort going to be very important in actually keeping this middle portion of the map secured for Prince. And it looks like going to be going with a consulate here already. So not going to be waiting for his 600 wood shipment or anything like that. Going to be putting down the consulate right away. And to me, that signals that he's going to be playing, excuse me, fairly economically for the duration of this game. Picks up even another llama here as well from this treasure. And now, certainly, if 8 wasn't a number that he was going to pen, I would almost guarantee you that 9 will be a number that's going to get penned. We'll see. These llamas still sitting back here. Nothing just yet. No additional wood being gathered. We'll see whether or not the 400 wood shipment gets turned into a stable and a pen, like I suspect it will, with 700 wood being shipped immediately after that. Let's see it, Mankler. Where's that pen? There it is. Nope, there's the barracks. And there's the pen. The barracks pen play, it looks like, is going to be the call. And H2O is sticking true to his words. You heard it here first, folks. If you have more than 8 livestock, pen them up. With your wood livestock pen going on. And I love this. We so rarely see livestock pen play. And the fact that a high-level player not only is making a livestock pen, but also has a rule about when he will make a livestock pen and sticking to it almost 100% of the time is kind of cute to see. So livestock pen going down, going to be fattening up those 8 llamas. Behind that, just fairly normal play. It is worth noting that PrinceofKabul has bypassed the 600 wood shipment and immediately jumped to diplomatic intrigue, the 300 export shipment. That is going to do a couple of things. It's going to mean no market super early, but it could also mean, oh, look at this. He's got some sort of rush in mind. I suspected that he was going to be doing this just standard auto stuff, but no, allying with the British consulate instead. 300 export coming out, going to be trying to get out that shipment of 6 musketeers very early. And look at that. We've got 6 redcoats, a bunch of sepoy, and look at this pressure that's going to be coming out. I don't know that H2O is going to be prepared to deal with this whatsoever in his base. Only having 5 muskets out, now 10, but this is, well, fortunately for him, he's got his hunts in very safe spots. His base has this very flat look to it, which is going to be fairly easy to defend, but behind this, PrinceofKabul has a very scary army. I wonder if he's not waiting for a 5 sepoy shipment and then just going to ram it down the throat of the French player here, which is a massive sepoy. And it looks like that's going to be the case. 5 sepoy shipment coming forward. And if we take a look at the military unit population, 22 to 15 at this point. But it's also worth mentioning these are sepoy and redcoat, which are very, very difficult to deal with units. H2O only having a handful of muskets here. You're going to see this huge mass and going to be forced to back up to his base. It does have CDB, of course. It does not have Greatcoat or Blunderbuss currently researched for them. Let's quick flip over and see if those are being researched. Looks like they are not presently. It might be in his best interest to research some of those techs to be able to fight with his CDB. Minutemen going to be forced to be called. A couple Gurkha being added into the back of this mix. And still no upgrades for the CDB just yet. Crossbows being built from the barracks, but H2O playing a fairly economic play behind this. Does not have a ton of military units to be able to deal with this. TC fire is going to certainly help. The CDB can tank a lot of damage, but realistically behind this, PrinceofKabul doing quite a bit of work with this play. If we take a look at the military unit population, really favoring H2O here. And we can see H2O is just continuing to play this economic play. He was 100% expecting to just kind of, I guess, maybe roll his way through this game without having to face any sort of pressure. Definitely was anticipating that he would just get a chance to eat up his llamas, use his 700 coin, age up. Not going to be the case. 4-hour shipment coming in. The reinforcements for PrinceofKabul just going to be rolling in here really quite nicely, and that's going to result in a very difficult position for H2O here very soon. Does have these 5 muskets, but unfortunately PrinceofKabul now working his way in here with his sour shipment as well. The villagers have been upgraded with Greatcoat, which is going to help them survive a little bit longer, but truthfully, I don't know if it's going to be enough. He is doing a pretty good job of fighting with them. He has his muskets working his way in here, trying to do some decent job of poking away with what little DPS units he does have left. Town Center does still have some CDB in it, allowing him to do some decent damage. the CDB realistically are taking a lot of damage behind all of this and doing a pretty good job. A crossbow shipment popping out in a very safe location, away from the Sours, behind all this building. And it looks like H2O is going to be able to perhaps hold here. Even has one CDB starting to eat in some of these fattened livestock, trying to work his crossbows into a safe position. Looks like he is going to be able to do that. One thing behind all this that you have to commend H2O on is his control. His control has been absolutely top-notch behind this, and he's done a great job in dealing with this pressure. Really looking like he's on form for this match, and doing a great job of keeping as many of his CDB alive as possible, playing this very greedy economic style, fighting with his villagers very well, and looks like going to be coming out of this with what would appear about a break-even situation. And if we consider that he's got a fully fattened livestock pen behind all of this, any sort of break-even situation for him is an absolute win at this point. I'm going to be able to gather up those llamas. Doesn't quite have the coin required to age up. Maybe he'll have to send 600 coin as his next shipment to be able to fully get aged up. But certainly does have the food supply available to him back here with all these fattened llamas to be able to age up. Going to be trying to sneak out to that coin mine to be able to get out at behind this stable coming up for PrinceofKabul. Of course has complete map control, able to get out here on all these little side hunts without too much of an issue. And continued pressure going to be continuing to come forward here. 600 wood coming up for H2O. Still not out of the woods. Has a couple crossbows here, but it looks like he is going to be taking a little bit more damage. Going to lose that house as well. Doing a pretty good job of focusing down the low HP units. And we can see there goes that low HP Gurkha. I would suspect this low HP Redcoat will be next. Nope. But still, H2O trying to find his way, trying to find a way to get aged up here. Let's take a look at the text being researched, because I suspect, no, it looks like actually he's not going to be aging up. He's just going to be trying to fight his way out of it here with a stable. Certainly the one thing that he's lacking, regardless of what his next choice is going to be tech-wise, whether it's going to be aging up for shipments or whether it's going to be just building a stable and getting some Hussar to deal with some of these Gurkha numbers. Certainly the thing that he is having a difficult time doing is securing a coin mine. Just due to this continued harass out of PrinceofKabul, making it very difficult for him to get out and actually get access to that coin. Villagers once again are going to be forced to fight. This time they do have blunderbuss available to them, so they will be adding in a little bit of extra DPS as well. Town Center once again doing a pretty good job of poking down low HP units, and once again able to force back the fight, survive a little bit longer. And look at his food bank behind this on all of these llamas. Has really gotten up some nice food. 5 Hussar are here. Villagers going to be forced into the fight once again. Coming forward, not a ton of anti-cav here for PrinceofKabul. And with these 5 Hussar now all around the map, PrinceofKabul going to be forced to go back a little bit. Sepoy are going to be forced to try and be some sort of buffer here for these Hussar. It looks like for the time being, both sides going to back off a little bit, remass, and live to see another day. H2O finally able to get out on this coin mine, and well, that's got to be something he's a little bit happy about. As we progress here into the next 13 minutes, going to be looking at the tech choices here for H2O. Looks like it's going to be Hussar crossbow. I still think there's an outside chance that he wants to get aged up, but against all of this pressure he's been facing, it's been very, very difficult to get aged up. So I did sneak some villagers out here to the south side, southwest side of the map. But very soon he's going to find this coin mine running out, and then he's got to secure a second coin mine, which is going to be a little bit difficult. More military units continuing to press in here from PrinceofKabul. And H2O going to back off, use the town center to ward his opponent off, and once again, both sides just going to back off. We do have a little bit of a dangerous game going on over here. Yeah, H2O smartly shifting his villagers around to the other side of the coin mine to keep their visibility as low as possible in this situation. Still more military units coming out for H2O. Still, he did manage to get aged up, which is going to be very important for him. And now Prince of Kabul on a little bit more of a clock. His opponent is aged up. Not a ton of military units for H2O. Does just have these couple crossbow and these couple hussar, but there's the chance that he might be able to get out enough shipments to be able to deal with this. More villagers coming forward. It looks like Prince of Kabul just wanting to end this right now. Muskets, Warren Q have been trained and are out here a little bit, trying to just cause a little bit more of a diversion. CDV getting hung up in all this mess, taking quite a bit of damage. The 2 crossbowmen that were remaining, not going to be enough. GG called by H2O. An 8 skirm shipment, not going to be enough. And H2O has resigned. Game number 3, going over to Prince of Kabul, and perhaps H2O feeling a little bit too confident, getting a little bit cocky. And, well, now Prince of Kabul finds himself in a position where he gets to once again counterpick the civilization choice of H2O. And well, it could be a little bit of a rough situation. Prince of Kabul bringing up the match score to 2-1. And, well, for all the Prince boys out there, got to be happy with that performance. Picking up game number 3 and extending the life of the mighty Prince to at least another game here in the round of 32. Take a look at the map pool once again. Next map is Baja California. And like we mentioned, H2O drinking llama juice. I'm drinking water just to try and keep my voice alive. Watching the reactions in chat to the to a little bit of manacle tilt, the deleted TC is if there's one way to pick yourself up off the ground when you're sick, it's to watch a reaction video to a manacle tilt. I didn't see why the game got canceled. Perhaps we had the wrong map. There we go. There's the invite. Let's see what H2O selects here. Be kind of fun to see him pick Japan, wouldn't it? Yes, PrinceofKabul has to select first, of course. That's correct. Perhaps we'll see something like... Well, Prince hasn't played German yet. Looks like a little bit of Brits coming out of PrinceofKabul. H2O knows he wants German. H2O is saying, you guys in chat try fighting versus Sepoy for 20 minutes and not deleting your TC. PrinceofKabul looks like has selected Russian versus the German of H2O. Alright, here we go. Game number 3 between H2O and PrinceofKabul. And of course, the winner of this match will move to the round of 16. And the loser will be eliminated from this Winter Championship Series. Spawning on the right side of the map, playing the German civilization once again, is H2O. And on the left side of the map, playing the Russian civilization in the color red, PrinceofKabul. Interesting choice here out of Prince, selecting the Russian civilization into what I would traditionally consider almost a counter-civilization, Germans. We'll see how that ends up shaking out for him. I'll be curious to see the repercussions that end up happening as a result of this match. I do not personally believe that Russian is a very strong choice against Germans, but PrinceofKabul may have a strat in mind, maybe some sort of little counter build, maybe going to be playing to a tendency that he thinks his opponent has, and we'll see how that ends up happening. 80 wood, treasure, going to be stolen by PrinceofKabul, and a nice little pickup there for the Prince. And H2O, unfortunately, was banking on having that treasure to build his trading post. And now, unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. Doesn't have that. And behind this, all sorts of roughness happening for him. He is now caught in hand attack as well by Prince's Explorer, and as a result, going to be taking a lot of damage while building this trading post. Now, the trading post is going to get up. That's almost certainly the case, but whether or not he loses his Explorer as a result of this, I think the answer to that is probably going to be true. Fortunately for him, is going to get the trading post up in time to get the passive XP that's going to be coming. Unfortunately, going to be losing the Explorer. Maybe a little bit of suicide to the bear coming in here. We'll see who gets the last hit, whether it's the bear. Well, maybe H2O just wants to try and pick up the scout. He actually did get it, and that's actually going to prompt a response of a run from PrinceofKabul. Nice little pickup there for H2O, picking up the native scout, having that extra warrior in his arsenal early in the game, enough to keep Prince from wanting to fight it. And as a result, H2O going to salvage his Explorer, get up the trading post, and only end up losing out on the 80 wood as a result. So, truth be told, at the end of the day, really not that big of a deal for him. Sure, would have liked to have that 80 XP. Sure, he had kind of accounted for it in his build, but not going to be the end of the world. So, Distributivism and 2 Slaughter Wagons coming as our first cards. Very standard play. And I think it's going to be ball in the court of PrinceofKabul to try and come up with something a little bit clever here. We'll see what that may be. It looks like just a 14-bill Egypt to start out with, and maybe he's just going to go full-on aggression, just play really aggressively and try and keep H2O penned up. Certainly Germany's prerogative in this matchup is to get to the third age. Get there with relatively little damage taken to their economy, and then veteran Ulan kind of just win the game, especially those 9 Ulan, 8 Ulan shipments just kind of flat out kill Russia, oftentimes when combined with the veterancy upgrade. But perhaps PrinceofKabul's idea is to not let his opponent get to that position to begin with, and whether or not he'll be successful in doing that, we'll have to see, or whether or not that is even. That explorer, poor guy. Dead to rights. Looks like the native scout is going to be able to run over there, pick him up upon age up, and it's going to result in him at least being able to pick up this treasure on spawn. H2O also smartly keeping a villager in the area to be able to contest the pickup of this treasure as well. Looks like he's even going to just chop wood right next to it as well, so that he can be in the area to be able to try and pick up this this treasure, because it is an 80 wood treasure. Certainly is worth trying to get if at all possible. And as a result, looks like he's going to be coming in here with this villager, trying to pick it up. It looks like he did get it as well, so going to be a nice... Nope, PrinceofKabul actually got it, so, well, better luck next time, Ryan. Nice try. But, unfortunately for him, losing out... That's the second wood treasure he's lost out on in this game so far. And, ooh, look at what we got here. PrinceofKabul opening with a stable in this matchup. He did mention in the previous game that he felt like he had to try some different off the record builds against H2O just to try and get some sort of surprise factor going, and perhaps we'll see if that stable play is what he needs to have that little bit of a surprise factor, that wow factor. 5 Cossacks shipment coming. Almost certainly we're going to see 5 Cossacks be shipped as well, and perhaps his idea is just to get 19 Cossacks as quickly as possible with the 5 and 4 shipments, and then build 2 batches of 5 and try and use those to assert dominance in the middle portion of the map and keep the Ulans from ever doing anything productive out in the middle of the map. Barracks going down for age 2. Looks like he's just going to play Colonial, playing age 2 behind this. I don't think he's explicitly scouted any of the gameplay from the Russian players so far, but well, looks like he should be okay here. Villager going to be taking some harass, going to be going down for H2O, and we'll see whether or not the Ulans do pop out of this stable here very quickly. 2 Ulans stepping forward. With the positioning of those Ulans, I almost have to assume that there's going to be more Ulans coming here very, very shortly. We can see the Ulans getting baited behind, and oh, this is so dangerous for the Cossacks. If 5 more Ulans do pop out of here, this could be a very treacherous situation. Minutemen being called, going to help push back. 3 settler wagons coming, additionally 2 Ulans coming as well. And it looks like this is going to be enough to force back the military units for PrinceofKabul at the present time. No batch of Ulans, interestingly enough, coming out behind all of this, which is a little bit surprising to me. But for the time being, looks like everything's going to settle down here a little bit. Still no blockhouse coming down from PrinceofKabul. Looks like he is going to be sending that his villagers forward to now begin building that. And it looks like he does want to continue to ramp the pressure behind this. Kind of a different, interesting build here out of PrinceofKabul. Going with the stable first build, prioritizing getting as many Cossacks out as possible early in the game, and then building the blockhouse on the 700 wood. Kind of a strange style. A couple crossbowmen stepping out into the waiting arms, unfortunately. The Cossacks going to be taking a lot of damage with them early in the game. Also going to be losing a settler wagon as well, so taking quite a bit of damage. A batch of Cossacks do pop out, 700 coin coming in here in as well for H2O, but truth be told, taken quite a bit of economic damage behind this. And we can see economically the population's fairly even, and that's something that I think at this point in the game Russia is going to be quite happy with. 2 blockhouses coming down behind this, and just more Cossacks reinforcing behind this as well for the red Russian player. Unfortunately, military units out here for H2O. Looks like he's going to be able to easily deny this second blockhouse, and he's going to start laying waste to this first one as well. 4 Cossack shipment, unfortunately coming to the town center. Had that come forward here and come to the blockhouse, maybe could have been a situation where those 8 Cossacks could have done quite a bit of damage, but not the case. It looks like Prince of Kabul is going to at least buy himself a little bit more time for the time being, and H2O going to continue just with his agenda of his colonial base play in his base. Big batch of Doppelsonders coming forward, and it looks like he's going to be favoring this top Ulan style here once again, with the Doppelsonders being trained. Going to be coming forward here, looking to apply some pressure, and well, it looks like he's maybe set a trap here for the Cossacks. Lots of Cossacks out here, but not anything to realistically deal with the Dops at this point in the game. And this could be a tricky situation for Prince Kabul. Looks like he may just end up forfeiting this forward location. 8 crossbowmen coming out here for H2O now as well. Going to be adding more pressure. Minutemen already being called here for Prince of Kabul, and truth be told, I don't know that he's got a good way to really deal with this army. 2 villagers going down. The Doppels are almost going to reign supreme in themselves here. I mean, unless we can get some miracle volleys here out of the Minutemen where he can focus down those Doppelsonders incredibly effectively, this army composition for H2O is going to be very, very difficult for Prince Kabul to deal with at the present time. And he's already forfeited about 500 wood in just structure out in the middle of the map. And that setback in itself might be enough to just force a GG call. It looks like lots of pressure going to be dialed in here on the stable, the houses for Prince of Kabul, and still there's no Minutemen available. They've already been called. They're back out here. A couple blockhouses are trying to go up back here, but is that going to be enough? I mean, is he going to have enough time to train the batches of muskets and the Strelet that he actually need? I don't know that the answer is necessarily yes. A lot of structure going down here. 13 Strelet for Prince. This is probably going to be about his best opportunity to fight with this remaining infantry coming in. The Dops trying to get in a position where they can duel with the Cossacks. 3 more Ulans coming in here for H2O as well. And it looks like H2O just going to be taking this fight, ramming everything in there. The Dops, the Ulans, high DPS, lots of splash, cutting through this front line of Prince of Kabul very, very well. Similarly, though, Prince doing a pretty good job of trying to focus down as many of those units as possible with his Strelet. Has kept them fairly safe in the Ulan so far, but now that his front line is gone, there is nothing remaining. GG called in a very short game number 3. Prince of Kabul, perhaps I think just opting into an unfavorable matchup. I wanted to try something cute with the Cossacks and ended up not working. Game number 4 going in a very convincing fashion, in a very quick fashion, over to H2O.